A lot of people have confirmed that this is actually a trap for Black Americans. And the good part about this for me is the fact that Black Americans also know that this is not only a trap, but also a scam. And a lot of us, why am I saying a lot of us? Most of us are not really falling for this gaslighting. I am so excited to bring this video to you guys today because when I saw my Black American people actually say, it is not our business, fight your fight, take your battle, and go your way. And we are going to fight our fight. Leave us as the left, leave us and do your thing and go. I'm so excited. Welcome. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sonia. If this is the first time seeing you, subscribe, like, comment, and share. Credit belongs to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. And guys, make sure you watch this video from beginning to the end and let me know what your honest thoughts is in the comment section. If this is not a trap, if this is not a scam, and why we will never fall for their gaslighting. Let's get right into this, guys, because I enjoyed it.
Black Americans do not fall for this purple revolution bullshit. Because let me point something out to you. They're talking about taking racist right-wing Republicans and putting them in with racist white liberals. Black Americans, you remember the LA City Council? That's your white liberal. You remember this freaking Chicago PD, LA PD, NYPD, how they ain't fixed none of that shit, but when they got Joe Biden, they freaking said, hey, we shouldn't defund the police, we should fund the police. The same people on both sides who had kids in goddamn cages. Yeah, same people on both sides. So basically, they want to double up on their racism. They need you in the mix because when they are done fighting each other, they're going to turn and look at you, black people. Fuck the purple revolution. No, if you want a revolution, let's have a black revolution. Don't you fall for their bullshit political tricks. Be a political free agent. Fuck these people. Seriously.
So let's talk about this purple revolution, okay? It's brought about by a bunch of people who now realize that voting for Donald Trump was stupid. It was idiotic, and they shouldn't have done it. Now, these people are coming to the table with the apologies and trying to bridge the divide. You know, a part of me, a little tiny part, wants to believe in this. It does. A part of me wants to heal the divide between the left and the right, between conservatives and liberals. A part of me wants to, a very small part, because the majority of my mindset is this: now you want help? Now, right now, after the damage that has been done in almost 10 months, now, you want to unify. I have a huge issue with this. This is part of that sweeping under the rug shit I was talking about last night. Let me help y'all understand something. We still got to talk about why we're here in the first fucking place before we start talking about how to heal the divide. If you get shanked, if somebody stabs the shit out of you, knife in, blood all out, you can take the knife out. You can even suture up the wound or have surgery to fix whatever was there. But we still got to talk about the stabbing. It's no good for the person that stabbed us to come to the table and say, hey, can we heal? No. All of last year, the ally rose and the accomplice stayed back. Allies thought it was a really good time to start acting like they ain't had no motherfucking sense. And the accomplices, no matter how great they were, could not overpower that mindset. They couldn't do it. Could not do it. And now, after the damage has been done, some of those allies and some of those people who voted against the allies because they thought it was just a superficial thing, now they want to try to fix shit, try to bridge it. Bridge it to go where? We are bridging it to go where? Where are we going? You see, as I said last night, this was a layup. This was the easiest thing to do. The easiest. Had you used common sense, your functioning eyes and functioning ears, and Google, we wouldn't be in this place right now. We wouldn't. It is the equivalent of people still protesting at Kamala Harris's book signings. At this point, it just looks like they're scared as shit. To go anywhere near a Trumper or a Trump rally or anything like that, they're afraid. You notice they did not picket at Charlie Kirk's funeral. Why? Because them people would have broke their foot off in their ass. That's why the arrogance of these people makes me sick. But back to this purple revolution. This isn't just a one election thing. This is 10 years. 10 years of lying, manipulation, grifting, of racism, of anti-blackness, of anti-black woman, of using pain and suffering in the Middle East as a reason to be an asshole here in the United States, of thinking about other places before you thought about here. This is 10 years of this. 10. This is, I voted for Trump in 2016, I voted for Trump in 2020, I voted for Trump in 2024. This is listening as they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, not a reason for you not to vote for the motherfucker. The 34 felonies, not a reason for you not to vote for the motherfucker. And the saddest commentary about all of this is that we didn't need to be here. We didn't. We did not need to be here. It is being so fucking self-centered as to believe that a candidate has to do the work for you. It is advocating your right as an employer of said candidate, of not doing background checks, of not doing Google searches, of not fighting against misinformation and disinformation, of believing lies before you even attempt to believe the truth. You think you're going to just sweep that away? No. No. You're not. Because you can't. On a worldwide stage, with the entire planet looking at us, part of these people in this purple revolution, knowing how incredibly detrimental this man was going to be, elected him in 2016 over the more qualified Hillary Clinton. They tried to elect him again in 2020. After that display of not even being able to contain himself in that debate between him and Joe Biden. About January 6th. How many people in the Purple Revolution were a part of January 6th? Of knowing that this man has no ideas. All he has is slogans. And not using critical thinking and your own goddamn common sense to see that it does not matter what comes out of this man's mouth, he's not going to do any of it. It is being arrogant, dancing for Trump, Trump tattoos, Trump stickers all over your car, MAGA hats, MAGA shirts. It's all of that, which culminated in 2024. When everybody could have used common sense and made sure this existential threat never got to the White House. It is the racism, sexism, homophobia, xenophobia, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, transphobia, and ableism that has carried, as this man has carried with him since 2015, and you knowing it and not giving a fuck. And now, wanting to bridge the divide only because what you voted for has now affected you. You didn't give a fuck when it was affecting other people. You didn't give a fuck when it was affecting other marginalized people, disabled people, veterans, elderly. You didn't give a fuck. You only started caring when it hit you. And now you want to bridge the divide. No. No. Because you cannot be trusted. You can't. If you had your eyes on other places in the world rather than America, we can't trust you. We don't trust you. If you thought tariffs was going to make your life better, we don't trust you. If you made excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse for the shitty, fucked up behavior of this 79-year-old man, we don't trust you. There can be no purple revolution until we have a red versus blue conversation and some red accountability. Allies need to be brought up front, shown for what they are, and discarded. Accomplices need to use their goddamn voice, their platforms, and any part of their life to fucking fix this. And as far as all of you MAGA supporters who are now regretting what you did, your apology is hollow. Sitting at the table with you is disrespectful. You need to own this, every aspect of it, or there can be no reconciliation whatsoever. I literally want you to understand, we don't trust you. We know that you are attracted to shiny shit and you will stab us in the back again. No.
I don't really know what I'm supposed to do at this point.
Hey, sir. How you doing? First, I want to say that I commend you and all of the MAGA people who are finally waking up. I also want to commend you for your very public apology to the Black community and marginalized communities as a whole for acknowledging the hurt caused to my community and other marginalized communities by the people within the MAGA, the Republican Party, the cult. I'm going to be very honest with you, very straightforward with you. I won't be a part of your purple revolution. I do recognize that it is a much needed revolution, though. I won't be a part of it because too much hurt. I have too much hurt from dealing with MAGA people over the past 10 years. You all have harassed, you all have bullied, you all have terrorized me and people who look like me. You all have called me some of the most heinous things. You've said some of the most vile things to me these past 10 years. So, no, I won't be a part of your purple revolution, but I do wish you much success in that because it is necessary for MAGA to wake up to see who the enemy really is and what it is that they have been doing and how it has affected all of us. I do want to give you a couple of tips though. Those who are speaking up about the purple revolution, what it is, what your goals are, although I haven't heard any goals. I know a lot of you are saying that it's not about politics, it's about people coming together. The first thing you need to realize is that it is about politics. This whole division that has taken place in this country is as a result of politics. It's whether you believe what you believe politically versus what I believe politically. The crux of the situation, the crux of the issue is politics. And until you all want to acknowledge that, I don't think you're going to have much success with the purple revolution. when it comes to accountability, that's your own personal journey. But when it comes down to the politics of this situation, you all are going to have to recognize that what most people on the left have been calling for is basic human rights for everyone. And until you all publicly accept that and acknowledge that, everyone in this country has a right to basic human rights, you're not going to succeed with your revolution. The second thing is you all are doing too much talking. Too much talking. Where we are right now is action. That's it. That's all. Coming together to have conversation. Those of us on the left have been having conversation for 10 years. Those of us on the left have been advocating for basic human rights for 10 years. Those of us on the left are up here, and unfortunately, MAGA is down here. They're just now waking up. MAGA are those who are looking to be a part of the Purple Revolution. Yeah, you're just now waking up to what Donald Trump and his regime has been doing, what Republicans have been doing, what the rich elites have been doing. Those of us on this side of the aisle, we've been trying to wake you up for 10 years. Now, I don't speak for the entire Black community. The Black community is not a monolith, which means what I believe is not what another Black person may believe. In my opinion, all of the conversation is not necessary. What is necessary at this point is action. If you and all of the other former MAGAs who are a part of the Purple Revolution truly mean what you say and have platforms, a good action would be to use those platforms to publicly speak out against Donald Trump and his regime. Use your platform to point out the lies and propaganda that comes from Donald Trump and his regime and Fox News. Publicly call out the lies and the mis and disinformation that comes from the Republican sycophants in Congress. Those are good actions that you can do on using your camera phone in the comfort of your own home. Another action that would be imperative to moving forward as a country is come the midterms, November 2026, is for all of you to get into the voting booth to vote against Donald Trump and his regime by voting out Republicans in Congress. You all say it's not political. I'm telling you, it is political. Use your platforms to encourage your followers, former MAGAs, those who are part of the Purple Revolution. Use your platform to encourage them to vote against Republicans. Too much talking, more action. A lot of us have been talking for 10 years. We don't want to have conversation anymore. We don't. What we want is action. And those actions would be a good start into proving that you truly have denounced Donald Trump and his regime and you're looking for a better tomorrow. Put actions behind your words. Good luck to you.
Well, that was quick. So the Purple Revolution guy is already crashing out. A lot of people have been in his comments, stitching his videos, tagging him in videos, things like that, pretty much telling him that no, you can't just demand that people fall in line by your side and you haven't done the work to show true change. So he has been posting more and more videos showing his true colors at this point. Now, again, as I said in my last video about the Purple Revolution, I am not against the Purple Revolution. I am not against the right and left coming together on common things that would benefit everybody. universal health care, universal education, things that progressives have been talking about more aggressively since 2015. Thing is, Mr. Purple Revolution does not want to talk about policy, even though policy is why we're here. You cannot, and I said this in my last video, you cannot hope to succeed. You cannot hope for people to be ready to unify, in your words, without referencing and understanding how we got here in the first place. You cannot cut corners in this. Mediocrity is not going to help you this time. You're going to have to do the work. You're going to have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and actually get down and dirty within yourself and do the work. You need to actually exhibit change, and you're not doing that. Your problem is you think that the right and left can come together after the right has been stomping the head of the left for well over 10 years. Y'all started this centuries ago. The ideology of conservatism started centuries ago. But it reared its ugly head for sure when Obama came in office. Remember when y'all were putting dolls in trees and setting them on fire? I remember that. Y'all remember when y'all were likening the president and his wife to monkeys? I remember that. Y'all thought that was funny. But it was rooted in the root causes of why we are here right now. When the Tea Party took over the Republican Party and were saying things like, if she ends up with child after being violated, that's something God wanted to happen. When that wasn't your line in the sand, and then it just got worse and worse from that. And then your current deity, Mr. Bone Spurs himself, was talking about grabbing women by the you-know-what. That was not your line in the sand. When he was found liable this time for SA and found guilty of 34 felony counts, that was not your line in the sand. Last term, when he separated children from their parents and put those children in cages where some of them were unalived and others were sent to goodness knows where and have still never been found. That was not your line in the sand. And you think you don't have to apologize for that? You think you don't have to atone for that? You think that somebody is just going to sweep that under the rug and give you a cushy landing? No, sweetie, this ain't going to be easy for you. You're not going to get an easy landing. You're not going to find this to be a gentle process. If you are really, truly deconstructing and you want to lead this new movement, this new purple movement, you will have to truly atone. And from your videos that I will be posting the full contents of them at the end of my YT and Substack videos, you have learned nothing. And it really comes off with you attacking people for wanting you to apologize. Attacking people for wanting you to atone for the people, millions and millions and millions of people that you have hurt through your votes over the years. People have lost their lives because of your vote. And you just want them to forget? Black people are used to you telling us to forget the things that you guys have done to us. Jim Crow, feeding our babies to alligators, making our flesh your dinner, removing babies from mothers without anesthesia, and everything else that you have done through straight policy. Unaliving our children in the street while they're in the park playing with toys, while they're just walking down the street, while they're protesting the ill treatment from law enforcement. Y'all have cheered this on the entire time, and we don't get our babies back. The worry that we feel for our children growing up around people like you is something you will never experience. And you don't even have the emotional maturity or the ability to have empathy for the people that you have hurt, the families that you have broken up. You just want to control people as usual, as you like to control women and what we do with our bodies and how we decide to express our bodily autonomy. It's about control. Again, you're mad now because you cannot control the masses. You cannot control when people tell you, no, we are not joining this until you atone, until you show true change in your actions. Talk is cheap. You can say all you want, that you want people to come together in unity. Talk ain't gonna do nothing. I want to see you in the street. I want to see you posting videos, not about this movement, but about the ill treatment of the people that are happening right now. Somebody not in your demographic. I want to see the change. I want to see that you truly feel sorry for what you have done. And we're not going to see it because in your videos, you still think that it is just a difference of opinion. You still think that people's rights in this country are negotiable. You still think, oh, we're just not going to see eye to eye. You have the privilege of not seeing eye to eye with people. The only thing you're losing right now is money. The only thing you're losing right now is your democratic rights. You are not losing your human rights. You have never had to fight for your human rights. Nobody has ever questioned the fact that you are human. Nobody's ever called you 3/5 of a human. And nobody ever looks at you as if your life does not matter. And the fact that you don't understand that, and you think that atoning and apologizing, which I don't give a crap about your apology. I don't believe that you're actually sorry because you really are sorry. I believe that you're saying you're sorry so that you can get people to unify for your cause. Because the thing is, if you were really trying to unify the left and the right and be that bridge, you would just join us. You would just join the blue. Because purple is purple no matter who joins who. So if you were to join the blue, it would still be purple. But you don't want to do that. You want to create something unique without having to do any work. You want the blue to come to you. You want to pretend like you're standing in the middle when you have the exact same beliefs and the exact same morals that put us here in the first place. The movement is not going to work because you guys are not willing to actually do the work. And when people point that out to you, you get extremely defensive, which shows me that you are not quite ready to unify.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Now that Trump's fucked up policies, Project 2025, the big, beautiful bill, are affecting you, by you, I mean conservative white Americans who voted for Trump multiple times, now you want to be upset? Now you want to call for unity? Now you want to extend an olive branch? Now that white people are losing their farms that have been in their families for generations, now you're calling for unity. Now that white people are losing their houses, their health care, their 401ks, now you want to call for unity. Now that white people are having to close their businesses because their workers are being deported, and in some cases, their spouses being deported, now you want to call for unity. Now that white people are getting kicked off of their public assistance, now you want to call for unity. Now that some of your daughters, mothers, nieces, granddaughters have lost their jobs due to DEI, now you want to call for unity and a purple revolution? So we're just going to ignore the fact that you were completely on board with all of Trump's racist bullshit when you thought it was only going to affect black people and people of color. Then yeah, you were all for it. But the moment those chickens came home to roost, now all of a sudden it's a problem and you need help. You need to get some allies. Now you want to come together and sit down at the table and just be a unified front and move forward in peace and working together. And we can get our country back together. Well, seeing as how your vote has this country exactly where it is now, on behalf of black people, people of color, and everyone else with normal brain function who heard everything that Trump and all his sycophants said while he was running and all the shit that he was going to do that he did, fuck you. What are you surprised about now? He told you exactly what he was going to do. You just thought it wasn't going to affect you. So you can take your olive branch, you can take your hand that's extended in unity and let's all sit down and kumbaya, and you can shove it up your fucking ass. The only purple revolution I care about is Prince. So if we're not talking about the Sign of the Times album, if we're not talking about the Purple Rain album, I don't care. You made your bed. Now go sleep in that motherfucker.
So this purple revolution is really just these moderates and these centrists. It's their latest attempt to create an escape route for these fucking maggots who now are looking for a way to run from the monster that they created. These moderates and these centrists expect us who live on the left side of humanity, okay, to just back on up. Give these maggots a plot. Give them some space so they can set up, hand them a megaphone so they can amplify their political voices. They want us to do that with no expectation of them atoning or deconstructing the harmful ideologies that they have that got us all in this position. It's political colonization. I think the fuck not. Right now, what we really have, those of us that live on the left side of humanity, is an opportunity to move this country to the left. You see these centrists, these moderates, those are your never Trumpers. Okay? Those are your like fucking Hillary Clintons and shit like that. Right? These never Trumpers had the wherewithal not to vote for Donald Trump. They said never Trump. They did not say Black Lives Matter. They are Republicans. They're just not maggots. And I am fully acknowledging the difference. Okay? They are the ones that negotiate, these moderates and these centrists. They're the ones that think that you can negotiate on things like our basic human rights. So at this point, for them to save this country, send them home. Send them back to the Republican Party. They came over here seeking refuge. They got it. Now it's time for them to go back and work on their party. These centrists and these moderates, the ones that have the heart for these maggots, need to take their asses with their hearts over to the maggots and help those maggots that want to run stay and fight. And I may be willing to pass a little bit of information to a never Trumper, but a maggot, I never will. When you hear people who are left of you say things like voting for an establishment politician is only going to move this country to the right, they are correct. They are correct. That's why we should stand our ground right now and force the right to meet us further on the left. Because voting for a Kamala Harris, who is a centrist, will never give you a Cori Bush. But imagine the improvement in the quality of all of our lives if voting for Kamala Harris is voting for the bad guy. Stand your ground and force them to go home and do the work to make maggots Republicans again.
Okay, so I want to talk about, I don't know, everybody's so tired of talking about this Purple Revolution. Purple Revolution and Taylor Swift is up and down my timeline. I'm about sick both. But I do want to say this because I wanted to wait because I didn't want to talk about it. I wanted to see if other people would bring this up because there are so many videos. But about Cult Needle Lady, when she said, because I've seen a lot of people dragging Honey Badger, which is rightfully so. When Cult Knitting Lady said, you can either choose to accept them or not. The consequences of that is that they'll either go back into the cult or they may take their life, or like basically putting on to you their choices of grown fucking ass people. And she is equating and mixing MAGA the Children of God cult, those people were not in an open cult. They were pulled away. They were in these own little silos. MAGA is an open and free cult, just like the evangelical fundamentalist cult. They are different. And she did not grow up a fundamentalist Christian. So she is equating her experience. And I feel like sometimes you can feel like you're so much of a fucking expert, but you're not an expert in everything. You're not an expert in everything. She could not tell me who Charles Stanley is. She couldn't tell me that. She couldn't tell me, crazy ass Kay, what color is her hair today on the YouTube. She couldn't tell me that because she doesn't even understand these people. She could not tell you what happened to Beth Moore, the controversy around that, and what happened to her when she spoke up. She can't tell you about Tammy and her having an affair, I think with Michael W. Smith? She don't know shit about that. She don't know the history and I could sit with a MAGA person and they'd be like, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember, because we understand. She does not. She can just talk about being in Argentina and all the other places. So she's equating something that is completely different and thinking she's an expert of. Baby, you don't know. Have you ever sat down with Billy Graham? Probably not. Probably not. You don't even know these people. Have you ever been to the studio of Moody Bible Radio? Nope. Nope. James Dobson. Been to him? Has he lectured in a course in your class? No. No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. How about Jimmy Swaggart? Does Jimmy Swaggart make your family members move and sell everything to move to become missionaries? No. No. So one of us is a fucking expert on an open cult and the other one isn't. Yeah. I just want to say that even as heterosexual white people, it is not your responsibility if you are on the left for the choices that they make. Yes, I do think that you need to extend an olive branch if they are starting to wake up, but you still need to have your boundaries. Just because they woke up doesn't mean they get to say negative things about migrants and black people and say the N-word in the earshot of your children or talk about gay people in front of your children. You still need to have a boundary. And if you get into a fight with them and they decide to go back to MAGA, then they weren't really truly waking up. Or if they decide to hang themselves because they have no community with MAGA and you're willing and you are being intolerant to their racism, homophobia, and transphobia, they hang themselves in the closet is not your fault. That is not on you. They are responsible. And I'm saying this as someone who has psychology degrees, saying this as a spiritual person. I'm saying this as a Catholic. I'm saying this as a baneful practitioner. You are not responsible for someone else's healing. Everyone is responsible for their own healing. MAGA still had access to the outside world, where a closed cult that's in the middle of a fucking jungle does not have access to the outside world. Okay? It is coming out of MAGA is not the same as coming out of the children of God. Coming out of MAGA is the exact same as coming out of fundamental Christianity. You deconstruct in the same fucking ways because you both have access to everything. You go to work. It's not even the same as Jehovah's Witnesses because Jehovah's Witnesses don't even want people to get higher education. They don't even want people to even go into the internet. That is not how even fundamentalist Christianity is. Okay? MAGA and evangelical Christianity is so intertwined. It's almost the same. Okay, they have access to CNN just as much as they have access to Fox News. They have access to MSNBC just the same. Okay, they're open cults. Open cults are very different. They're very different. Okay, now she wanted to equate this to like Scientology was kind of open and kind of closed. If you join the Sea organization, that's another thing. But I don't want you to ever feel that it is your responsibility that the choices that they make, that is on you. It is, yes, it is time for white people to use the tools that they have to tear down white supremacy and clean up the fucking mess that they made. But that does not mean it is your job to beat the cult out of people. They have to wake up on their own and they have to deconstruct on their own. Just because you wake up from a cult does not mean you're going to automatically be anti-racist, not be homophobic or transphobic and all of the things. Okay. But because they have not fully deconstructed, it makes them dangerous to people in those communities, minority or white. A white trans person or a gay person should not have to be in community with someone who has said disgusting things to them that almost wanted to make them take their own lives. Your mama who kicked you out for being gay, it is not your responsibility once she wakes up from MAGA for you to take her in. It is not your responsibility. I don't want you to ever feel that way. That is, y'all want to talk about white guilt? Do not listen to people who, see, there's a saying that we have that you're so heavenly minded that you're no earthly good. Sometimes people can be so academically minded that they are no earthly good. And that happens on the left and the right. You have so many people who can read all of Marxist things, but they have no practice whatsoever because they don't have an understanding. And this white lady over here that grew up in the fucking jungle in that cult has no understanding of what it is to be an evangelical and know what it is to be a MAGA evangelical. She has no understanding of that. You can't even equate to that. I cannot equate as a black. That is like me telling you what it's like to be black in Nigeria because we're both black. The color of our skin. We have the same melanin. But I'm going to tell you what it's like to grow up in a Nigerian household. No, the fuck I can't. I can't speak to that. But because I have Afro studies and I had a degree in all of these things, me having a degree in Afro this or that, what does not mean that I can speak to experience of like, and I don't have these degrees. This is an example. If I had all these degrees and I traveled to Nigeria all the time, let's say I traveled all the time because I was initiated in Nigeria. I know who crowned me. I'm working with the Orisha. That would none of that would ever make me understand what it's like to grow up in a Nigerian household because we have the same melanin, we have the same religious practice. Oshun is on my head. Oshun is on this Nigerian's head. I still don't understand that experience. And I think people have to have nuance about that. And then the honey badger and her soft voice. Having a bunch of degrees and being able to say big words does not make you an expert in every fucking thing. And having a not soft voice and doesn't make you an expert. And it doesn't make everything that comes out of your mouth in this soft tone rational. You see what I'm saying? Y'all got to cut through the bullshit. Some people may not know how to speak eloquently, but they know what the fuck they're talking about. They may use a lot of swear words, but they know what the fuck they're talking about. So just that kind of blew my mind. I wish more people would make videos on that, but it is no one's responsibility to wake somebody up from an open cold. That is all on them. Yes, you can have an olive branch and you can still talk to them. You can still give them the information, but you do not have to take them in. You do not have to bring them under your umbrella. You do not bring danger. You don't bring a fucking wolf into a hen house. That's wild that she would say that. That is the wildest fucking thing I have ever heard in my entire life. It is closed cults and open cults are not the fucking same thing. Okay, they're just not. They do not operate the same. Okay, this is getting too long. I'm gonna let y'all go.
Okay, so I wanted to share my thoughts about this whole Purple Revolution shit while I am in the middle of filming and I look cute. So here we go. So here's the thing, you guys. I have been alive long enough to remember a lot of things. And one of the most consistent things through each stage, through every stage, frankly, is it's never been the right time to talk about policy as it applies to my specific civil rights. It's crazy because it seems like there's just always a scenario where we need to put aside my civil rights so that we can fight for power. And that is kind of what you guys are talking about over here. Look, I was raised in a predominantly conservative community. I've lived in predominantly conservative communities. I can entertain the premise that not every Republican, not every MAGA is a crazy racist Nazi. That is a harder and harder thing for me to entertain after this current administration. Largely because they're literally doing all the things that they said they would do, and you didn't believe us. You know, you really did not believe us. And look, I definitely think that there is something to be said about being unwelcoming to people who are trying to change, but you guys aren't really trying to change. You want the numbers, and this is what it always comes down to every single time. Purple Revolution people are mostly white people who are MAGA, who don't want to be associated with MAGA anymore, who want to move on, but many of them struggle to comprehend that some of us are fighting for our survival, and that supporting you in this indifference to our civil rights may very well conclude in us losing our lives. And some of you think that that's like a silly little argument, some stupid little identity politics bullshit, right? Not even understanding that you are being duped by the system that you are claiming to want to deconstruct, right? Is racism a distraction? Yes. Is transphobia a distraction? Yes. I think I saw something recently where the polls came back finally for how many people are opting out of LGBT education. And it was something like less than 1%, right? These things are not popular, but a lot of you choose to be indifferent to the rights of the LGBT, to be indifferent to the rights of queer folks, so that you can gain power, and really so that you can suck up to conservatives. And this is the thing that I wanted to say. Some of you guys, you are fixated on conservatives because you come from a family of them. You come from a family of conservatives and you want to make space for them. And I am happy that you feel that way. I think, however, that you need to maybe go over there and do some work. Do the same exact shit that we've been saying you should do from day one. Work with your people. And I think that more than a purple revolution, which, purple is, not the right color in my opinion. I think it should be a little bit more cerulean, personally, a little bit more cobalt maybe. But the purple revolution is really just about bringing right-wing people and people who are frankly still quite right-wing, right, together, right? And so why not just have an organization of right-wing people who don't want to be MAGA? Why does it need to be us coming over and, again, putting aside all of our issues to focus on the revolution? Because here's the thing, I was watching one of the guys, the Purple Revolution guy today, talk about all of this, right? And he's just so pissed that we don't want him to be a fucking bigot. What future are you guys advocating for where my rights are not important, but we need to center dudes like this all the time? And this is the thing that drives me a little insane. And this is the point a lot of you guys miss. You can't go from being MAGA last week to leading a revolution the next week. And if you were to make such a drastic change, you would probably do it with an understanding of why people are particularly worried about the loss of their civil rights right now. Because I'm just going to be very blunt with you. How I'm feeling right now is I know no one's going to come for me. I know that they're going to be successful. I feel very confidently that they're going to be successful. I have no reason to not feel that way. For some of you, that may be fatalistic. For me, it is a measurement of literally all of the conversations that I've had for all of my life. Some of you don't recognize that some of us fight for our civil rights the moment we are alive. And I know that so many people on here think that whenever I have a conversation like this, I'm just trying to use my identity as something to validate myself. And you guys need to snap the fuck out of that. Snap the fuck out of that. Do you know what I lived through living in predominantly conservative areas, being raised very evangelical? Constant dehumanization. That at every step, when I called it out, when I said, hey, maybe we shouldn't be saying the N-word, maybe we shouldn't be using these slurs. Maybe you don't need to be a bigot. Maybe you don't need to say that to me and be unnecessarily racist. It was always seen as something we shouldn't be talking about. I was making a big deal of nothing. From every fucking step, I was always making a big deal from nothing. And in my opinion, from my vantage point, it would have actually just been a lot easier for you guys to listen and do something about it. Because wouldn't it be great if we could move past racism and finally face these motherfuckers? But you guys act like we can't have that conversation and you guys shouldn't be doing that work. And what you're not understanding, the anxiety that we have, and this is something that I saw another creator bring up very, very well, is that what's going to happen when you guys get what you want? You're going to have a coalition of people who have basically united around indifference towards my civil rights. It is not really wrong for me to be suspicious of that and to think that the natural result of that is going to be danger and violence for me. I shouldn't feel like advocating for my civil rights is a huge ask, but the way you guys treat it is as if it is. And I really wish that some of you guys would just hear yourselves, listening to Ezra Klein, for example, talk about how maybe they need to run pro-life on, fucking candidates in red states. It's like, do I understand your weird logic? Kind of. Your weird pessimistic logic that doesn't entertain the fact that, abortion rights are very popular and that at the end of the day, people are gonna fucking die if they don't have them. It's like you guys have these conversations about this shit like it's such a distant, far away thing. Do you know that trans women are actively losing their coverage right now? Do you know that many trans people don't actually have access to their care right now because of what Trump is doing? Do you understand that that is a death sentence for most of us? Do you understand that if we don't die because we don't get access to them, we may die trying to get access to them, and that was the reality for many transgender people before we had a lot of the protections that we had that Trump is trying to erase, right? I just want for people to be more honest about it. I appreciate the Republicans for being honest about how they feel. And you know what's funny about that? That is part of why they have the winning strategy, because they're honest about it. I mean, not really, but you know what I mean, right? They're just going to say that they think that trannies are weird, right? You guys will sit around and you'll waste my time. You'll get in my fucking ear. Trans women are women, whatever. But then you will literally do nothing to defend trans people. And it's very bizarre. Very, very bizarre. Some of you guys really also don't understand that many of the things that are being contested right now have already been contested. These debates that we're having, we've already had. People have come out and made a lot of conclusions about these debates, but these conversations were brought up again because people understand, capitalists understand, that a lot of you are transphobic. A lot of you are racist. A lot of you believe that black people are inherently violent and that trannies want to rape your children, right? That is what a lot of you just believe. You just believe that. And so they know that they can rely on those isms to manipulate you, to get you to vote for the people that they want in power. And most of you are not ever going to see that. You're never going to see it. And so, yeah, I think the people who have done the work are obvious right now. And if you're just figuring it out right now, you're kind of too late. But I still wish you well on that journey, and I hope you continue to go down that path. I just don't need to be part of it. Matane.
Honestly, they say give honor to whom honor is due. Chebita speak politics. Bishop Thomas, you guys, thank you. Thank you for always getting black people's back and always spitting out facts. And to every single creators in these particular clips that I roll out today, God bless you guys. Keep the good work coming. Do not relent until we get what we are looking for. If you want this to actually work, don't make it the purple revolution. Make it the black revolution. That is what the first clip said. And I so much appreciate and support that. Because if this purple revolution thing was to be coming from black folks' end, I am 100% sure that none of these white folks will be ready to join and even promote it. Do not get me wrong. I want unity. I want peace. I don't even condone violence. But there are some things you see that at the end of the day, you know that these things will never go as planned. Even if they are trying to deceive you and make you see that this thing will actually go as planned. Because yes, right now they are tired of MAGAs. Right now they are tired that what they voted for is not what they are saying. Right now they are tired that the orange man is only creating wealth for his own generation. Right now they are tired that their farm is no longer being produced and being productive as before. Right now they are tired that the tariffs is hitting on them really bad left, right, back, and center. Right now they are tired because every single person that is working for them have literally been deported. Right now they are tired that Mr. Orange Man did not fulfill his promises. He has left them behind. And that is why they want both the blue and the red to come together and form what is purple revolution. And that is why they are now promoting it, thinking that black folks will actually fall for their gaslighting, thinking that black folks will actually fall for their trap, thinking that black folks will be happy to be like, yeah, they are not doing this for our favor, thinking that black folks will come here and start clapping for them and be like, yes, you guys, we need to do this together, we need to join. Hell no. Black people are not joining. If you want to do it alone. If you really know that this is what this thing you're doing is for the good of the black community, make it black community revolution. Because let it make sense to me that if this man did not actually show these people the pepper that they are seeing right now, would they be coming out to be forming a purple revolution? If this man was literally dancing to the tunes of every single magas and making them happy and making the black community sad or making other minor communities sad, will these people come out with this bullshit called the purple revolution? One of my happiness is black people are not falling for the gaslighting, black people are not falling for the trap, black people are not falling for the scam. In fact, I've literally not seen any black person video that has actually been promoting this. If you have seen, let me know in the comment section. Because me, I haven't. I haven't seen. Every single black person is actually coming out to tell them the fact that you see this thing called purple revolution, do it alone, fight it alone, enjoy it alone, and take the country alone. Because now they want to take the country from someone that is a very strict, when I mean very strict president that don't even care about the feelings of the citizen. You think that is going to be easy? Anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section, especially as a black person. Credit belongs to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we're having at today's episode. If you haven't subscribe, like this video, drop me your comments, and lastly, do not forget to share for every other person to get this good news. And guys, with that being said, with no further ado, I do add like in my videos. I'm going to be saying bye and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah. Black people are the best.